All right, for this next section, we are going to install Roon Bridge on the target, the host computer, not the target. The host computer is going to also run Roon Bridge. We have the Diretta host and target all set up. They are running the Diretta software, and we verified that the Diretta protocol is working because the host computer, which has no USB DAC connected to it, can see the DAC that is connected on the target through the link that's connecting the two. So the protocol is working correctly, but to play music, we need to install Roon since we're going to use this as a Roon endpoint. So this part involves the host, not the target. So I'm on the host, and we'll go to menu, and then we're going to go to the install update menu. So on number 5 over here, and this will present us with a number of different applications that we can install. There's MPD, there's Logitech Media Player, SqueezeLite, Ardivana, and all kinds of different things. But the one that we're interested in is Roon Bridge, so we're going to just choose that one. It's possible to install any one of those. I don't recommend running more than one at a time. You can end up with some kind of confusing behavior. It may or may not work, but I think Piero would agree with me that it's best to just run one at a time. But we're going to focus on Roon for this one. And this process takes a little while. You're going to see that it's going to install around 101 packages. So I'm going to pause the video and then come back when the Roon Bridge installation is finished. All right, I'm back, and we see that the Roon Bridge is installed, has got the latest version. The build process that PR has set up actually downloads Roon Bridge software from Roon Labs, and then packages it along with all the dependencies and installs it properly as an Audio Linux package. So this is why we see what we see here. We'll click OK to go out of this, and we're going to go now to back to the main menu, and we're going to go to the audio menu now. And the reason we're going to go there is because we want to make sure that the Roon Bridge software is actually running. We can use this Show Audio Services button to see what's actually running. And we see that we have the Diretta, this Sync ALSA is I think the virtual sound card, and we see the Diretta audio services running, but we don't see any Roon Bridge. So that means we have to enable it. So we have to use this Roon Bridge enable toggle here to switch it on. And once we do that, then we should see Roon Bridge listed as one of the audio services that's enabled and running. And that is about all that we need to do there. So we're going to go back to main menu and exit to the console. So if we go back to the document, we have we did the installation of Roon Bridge, and we made sure that it's enabled. There's a recommendation to reboot both the devices. It's not a bad idea, but let's just see if we can go ahead and configure Roon. We're going to pick up with step number 5 here. So we'll bring up the Roon interface, and we're going to go to audio settings down here. I have way too much stuff, so you can ignore most of this stuff. But we know if I take a look if I just run the IPA command, I can confirm what my IP address is for this guy. It's 8.131, Diretta host 8.131. So this is the correct interface. Typically, you won't have so many things in your environment, but we're going to want to enable this one. We're going to just call it something simple. We'll just call it Diretta for now. And then I recommend going through and configuring these things as appropriate for your device. So for example, I know that this DDC is quite capable, but I'm just going to configure it for DOP because I may use I've got a coax SPDIF cable, and SPDIF only supports DSD over DOP, even though the device itself supports native. So Roon's not able to detect it correctly. I'm not going to worry about MQA. I'm going to set fixed volume. And since we set fixed volume, we have to go out and come back in so that we see the correct settings under Show Advanced. Again, since I'm using SPDIF instead of the I2S output, I'm going to manually override some of these settings to match those capabilities. I don't have the full Diretta license, so I'm not actually going to be able to use these until I license it, but I'll set them here, and then I'll show you how we override them using the Roon DSP settings. I'm going to enable MQA chord decoder, and just on the random chance that there's any MQA files. and then I'll force max volume at playback start. This option doesn't show up if you didn't set fixed volume here and save and go back in, but it does if you do. I don't think there's a mixer on Audio Linux, but some operating systems for Linux will have a mixer and they might have the volume turned down. And then you have problems with gain if you don't have this set. So I always like to set that for my Raspberry Pi interfaces. So now we've got the device specific settings done. We want to do some zone specific settings. So I just use this to pick the new Diretta zone that we have. And I'm going to click on the gear here. This is all optional stuff, but I recommend volume leveling set to auto, the target 18 LUFS. You can do a lot of experimenting with this, but lots of people have, and have found that this tends to work out the best. I'm also going to go to the DSP settings, and I'm going to choose something that I've already sort of pre-baked called Diretta Limited, but I'll walk you through what's there. I put headroom management on with the clipping indicator enabled, and I just set headroom adjustment to 0 dB. So if there's any clipping, this little bobble down here will start flashing at me to let me know I need to put a negative number here. But I like to have the information. It'll start flashing in red if there's any clipping happening. If you see red, then just try -1 or -2. Otherwise, you can leave it at 0. And then this is the crucial part for doing this Diretta evaluation. We want to go down to here and choose custom for the sample rate conversion and set every single one of these to 44.1 all the way down the line. You'll have a pop-up menu and all these different options that you can choose, but set them all to 44.1 and then make sure that sample rate conversion is enabled. By default, it'll be disabled. We want it to be enabled. So any audio data that we send to this interface, at least at this time, we want to all be 44.1 so it doesn't encroach on our trial or limited license for Diretta. And then optionally, I'm using headphones for this thing. I will use different headphones. EQ, that's one of the features that I enjoy for Roon. This Oratory 1990 guy seems to know what he's doing for headphone EQ. So if there's a Harman target that was created by Oratory 1990 for your particular headphones, I recommend it. You can search for headphones in here like I did HD 600 or HD 650. You can find also several different options here. And then there's usually Oratory 1990 target that you could choose for that also. Anyway, optional, but it's kind of nice. And then the last step that we'll do is we're going to go down to the Q. That's this button down here. And I don't know if you can see because my head's probably in the way. Let me move this, come back up here. We want to turn Roon Radio off typically. Otherwise, at the end of whatever album or track you're playing, Roon's just going to randomly start making up things to play. It's optional, but usually I know what I want to hear, and I don't want Roon to override what I selected. So those are kind of the settings to get Roon basically set up. And once we've done all that stuff, we should be able to play something. So if I hit play, we're going to see that we have some output going to the Diretta host through this Target app limited endpoint. And that's just because we're running the limited version of Diretta, and we have music. If you put headphones on, we'd be able to hear it. So I'm going to stop the video here, and then we'll take a look at some of the next steps that we can do.